people have been beat up for saying no to some of them questions, or even hesitating. Of course, that's the hard way of getting out of the Ku Klux Klan.
Thompson says there are other ways to get out of the Klan that are less costly.
The easiest way of getting out of the Ku Klux Klan is don't pay your dues. That's a big secret.
Thompson and Potok want Americans to know that the Klan is not merely a shameful relic of the nation's past. They say that Barry's hateful influence is spreading, and perhaps that is the darkest secret of all. Although the Ku Klux Klan, the most visible hate group in America, calls itself the Invisible Empire, the real Invisible Empire is a secret society known as the National Alliance. Now considered by some to be the largest and most dangerous hate group in the country.
I think the National Alliance is clearly the most serious, revolutionary white supremacist organization out there.
The Southern Poverty Law Center's Mark Potok says the National Alliance is active in at least 26 states, in addition to Holland, France, Great Britain, and Germany. But unlike the KKK, the skinheads, and other white supremacist groups that it influences, the National Alliance does not hold public rallies. It meets in secret. In fact, many NA members are known within the group only by their first names and last initials. According to Potok, many Alliance members want to remain anonymous because they are judges, college professors, and other high-profile members of the upper middle class.
This is very often a group that's characterized by very bright people who are quite capable of doing real organizing.
What is the National Alliance organizing? Potok says that's the darkest secret of all. He believes the National Alliance is planning a secret war to kill millions of Americans and create an all-white nation.
This is an organization that essentially advocates the violent overthrow of the U.S. government and the murder of a great number of its citizens.
The leader of the National Alliance is its founder, William Pierce, a former physics professor and American Nazi Party official. Pierce uses his weekly radio show to recruit new members and spread his message across the country.
Whites who live in New York and have to deal with Puerto Ricans on a continual basis call them cockroaches, cucarachas.
Pierce has also been a frequent guest on a white supremacist public access TV show called Race and Reality.
Eventually we want to be able to reach everyone, whether they want to hear our message or not, on a continuing basis.
But Pierce is best known for his novel, The Turner Diaries, which he wrote under the pen name Andrew MacDonald. The Turner Diaries is described as a secret Bible for war against the government. Some suspect the book was used as a blueprint for the Oklahoma City bombing. In fact, a copy of it was found in bomber Timothy McVeigh's car at the time of his arrest.
The Turner Diaries romanticizes the idea of battling the federal government. It romanticizes the idea of murdering people, and in fact has acted as something that really gave a kind of moral authority to people who would go out and kill.
We managed to track down William Pierce at his National Alliance headquarters outside Hillsborough, West Virginia. He doesn't come across as particularly dynamic or charismatic. He appears to be mild-mannered, but obsessively controlling.
Well, you can come up here, just turn your camera off.
Okay, very good.
Pierce allowed our cameras inside his top-secret warehouse, where he stores his huge arsenal of white supremacist propaganda.
Just wait a second and I will check how things are going in here.
He showed us hundreds of compact discs with pictures of Hitler, Nazi soldiers, and swastikas. Pierce also sells Nazi propaganda films and hundreds of white supremacist books, including, of course, his own. Then Pierce agreed to answer our questions about the revolution he's planning. Remarkably, Pierce admitted that it could get bloody.
We need to have a white America again. We need to bring about a separation. We need each people, not just white Americans, each people needs to be in control of its own destiny. And you cannot do that in a multicultural, cosmopolitan sort of society. I don't want violence, but things have proceeded so far along the wrong path in this country, and in Europe too, that I expect that there probably will be a lot more violence in our future, just as there has been in our past.
Pierce admits that his revolution could still be years away. So for now, he's focusing on recruiting new soldiers for his cause. This woman, Kirsten Kaiser, agreed to reveal how she got caught up in the National Alliance. First, she says they secretly lured her in by making her feel proud of her European heritage.
What they talked about was, I'm of German ancestry, or I'm Austrian and Hungarian. They got me kind of all excited about my ancestors.
Then she says she was drawn in by the mystery and secrecy surrounding William Pierce and the National Alliance.
It was this mysterious underworld that no one's supposed to know about. And it was all this mysterious information that you're not supposed to know about, and reading mysterious books that you can't get in ordinary places.
Kirsten says she was also introduced to the infamous Nazi propaganda film, Triumph of the Will.
They usually played it on Hitler's birthday and a few other times of the year, and we would have like parties where we would watch it. We'd have a lot of our other Nazi friends over and watch this movie and analyze it frame by frame.
But Kirsten says there were many more movies that she wasn't allowed to watch.
You can't watch Pocahontas because she falls in love with a white guy. That's not allowed. You can't see Little Mermaid because that crab character is singing that Jamaican style of music. So you can't hear that because it's black, and that's not allowed.
Kirsten became so involved with the National Alliance that she married one of Pierce's top men. Pierce even served as the minister at their Nazi wedding ceremony. Kirsten says shortly after her wedding, her husband started controlling all aspects of her life. She says he forced her to become a vegetarian, isolated her from her family and friends, and even deprived her of sleep in order to make her believe in the goals of the National Alliance.
He would keep me awake until I would see that he was right.
After 10 years, Kirsten finally found the strength to leave the National Alliance and her husband. But she says her experience with the secret society has left her deeply scarred.
They raped my soul, and unless you've ever been raped, you wouldn't really understand what that meant. But I feel that is what they did to me, that they put this stuff inside of me that I did not want inside of me, and then they told me that I was supposed to like it.
We asked William Pierce about Kirsten, and he dismissed her as disturbed and denied all of her allegations.
She's a sick woman, and I just don't see the need in debating her on the air.
Kirsten has emerged from her nightmare with a new life and a new husband. But she wasn't the first victim of the National Alliance. And if William Pierce has his way, she won't be the last. Now, the story of another woman who claims she became involved with a frightening secret society. One disguised as a New Age health and fitness club called Don Hoc Tao.
I feel very betrayed because I really trusted them, and I'm still broken-hearted.
This Mesa, Arizona couple, who we will call June and Bob, agreed to reveal how June was seduced by the power of Don Hoc Tao. But they are so hurt and humiliated by June's experience with the group that they would only talk to us on the condition that we conceal their faces and their true identity.
Don Hoc Tao not only breaks up families for their own cause, but it also exploits a lot of individuals who are very much victims.
Don Hoc Tao, which loosely translated from Korean means the philosophy of energy, is based on a 10,000-year-old Korean regimen of exercise, meditation, and martial arts. June turned to Don Hoc Tao seeking self-improvement and spiritual enlightenment. But she says what she found nearly destroyed her life.
I just don't think people really understand what's going on in those centers.
Rick Ross, regarded as one of the nation's leading experts on cults, has been investigating Danhak Tao for the last 2 years.
Danhak Tao is certainly one of the faster growing groups in the United States that some people might refer to as a cult.
Ross believes that Danhak Tao secretly recruits susceptible people like June and convinces them to sacrifice all worldly possessions, commit themselves as disciples for life, and abandon their families forever.
There have been people that have been separated from spouses, from children, and entire careers and futures have been sacrificed at the altar of what seems to be worship of a spiritual master.
The spiritual master of Danhak Tao is its founder, Grand Master Sun Hung Lee. In his extensive writings, Lee has gone so far as to compare himself to Jesus and Buddha.
Jim Jones saw himself in that same vein.
Cult leader Jim Jones built a community of devout followers in the early 1970s.
Jim Jones was once a very respected leader in San Francisco and courted by political leaders across the nation. But ultimately, power corrupted him. Tragically,
Jones used his power to coerce 911 of his followers to commit mass suicide. Bob's fear of the destructive power of cults grew as he watched June fall under the spell of Master Lee, her first step down the path of blind devotion.
Every day she would come home and try to convince me to feel the energy and to feel this, feel that, and pretty much talked about the Grand Master and the Headmaster as if they were kind of like God.
Bob says that once the masters began to influence June's behavior, they soon went after her bank account. He says that June paid $800 for what she was told would be a one-year membership at a center in Mesa, Arizona. Then she was pressured to pay more.
1 month later, then they will ask that, oh, we have a special class, and you really need to take this class.
We had to pay another $100 here, $150 there, and it was financially adding up.
But Bob says June's involvement was costing them more than money. It was killing their marriage. He says she went to meditation classes every night and sometimes wouldn't come home until after midnight.
She started getting more distant, and I kind of felt like she was kind of going off into her own little world.
According to Ross, the change in June's personality was the result of the most powerful component of any cult, blind devotion. He believes that June's so-called meditation classes were actually hypnosis and brainwashing sessions.
Danhak Tao deals in trance induction. That is, they bring people into an altered state of consciousness where they're highly suggestible and then program them.
June claims that Danhak headmasters use brainwashing to control every aspect of her life. She says that part of her training included chewing her food 100 times before swallowing. Then, in the next step of her induction, June says she was invited to a secret ceremony called Shim Sung at the Danhak Center in Sedona, Arizona. She remembers an exhausting 2-day retreat where she cried and laughed hysterically. Ultimately, the experience convinced June that she found spiritual closure with her troubled past.
They go back to this childhood and then resolve all the bad issues you had with your family and especially with your parents, and then say them goodbye. And I found out later what that means.
What that meant was the darkest secret of all. June says she was recruited to become a Danhak Tao master, which required leaving her family forever.
One of the other headmasters had told her point blank, you need to leave your husband and divorce him. Your spirit is not with him, and so you must come with us.
Incredibly, June obeyed the headmaster, quit her job, and took the final step towards committing herself to Master Lee for life.
She had written a letter stating that she's going to be going on a quest and that she will no longer have a husband, a mother, and a father, but she will live like a Buddha as a monk. That really scared me because I asked her some very straightforward questions such as where will you stay, who will take care of you. The only response she has is that they have everything arranged.
Fearing that he would lose June forever based on her newfound devotion, Bob tracked down the one man he believed could help save his wife.
Hello, Rick Ross.
From the very first meeting, I could see that the wife was not thinking critically, that she was very much controlled in her speaking. Much of what she said sounded, frankly, like a rehearsed tape rather than anything spontaneous. And this is often the effect of many cult members.
In addition to investigating cults, Ross specializes in deprogramming people who have been brainwashed by fanatical groups, an expertise that has kept him busier than ever.
I've been dealing with groups that have been called cults for almost 20 years. And currently, there are more groups, more people involved than ever before. Frankly, it's a growth industry.
Ross spent 3 intensive days convincing June that she had been drawn into a cult. One of the secret methods he used to deprogram June was to show her footage of people going through cult experiences similar to her own.
By the third day, when Rick shows the videotapes of cults, and that's when I realized this group was not the one that I thought it was.
It's here in Sedona, Arizona, where June says she completed the secret ceremony that nearly led her to sacrifice her marriage and give up her former life. It's also where Grandmaster Lee has set up the multi-million-dollar headquarters for his organization on 149 acres of juniper trees in Red Rock. We came here looking for some sort of evidence to suggest that behind the mask of health and happiness, Master Lee is secretly leading his members down the road to another Jonestown. But we saw nothing that suggested any wrongdoing. We spoke to several members, but they all praised the program of meditation and exercise.
I just feel more excited about the day every day, so I take that energy into what I do, and it's made everything kind of more enjoyable for me.
We also spoke with Dan Hak Tao's international marketing manager, who insists that his organization has nothing to hide.
Dan Hak is not a secret money-making cult. Dan Hak is just business.
We even managed to sneak a camera hidden in this briefcase into one of the many Dan Hak Tao centers in Arizona. The result was the same.
Hi, how are you? Hi, good, thank you.
But Ross told us not to be fooled by Dan Hak Tao's easygoing hospitality. In fact, he says that friendly veneer is part of the cult's secret and subtle strategy to enlist new members.
Cult indoctrination does not come on quickly. It's a gradual process, step by step by step.
So, we went back to the Dan Hak Center in Mesa where June was a member and asked one of the masters about her story. He dismissed her allegations as a misunderstanding.
I don't think that any master here at the Mesa Center or any other place would try to force someone to do something they didn't want to do or try to force something that would be harmful to them emotionally. I don't think that would happen.
I think the lower level masters don't know what they're involved in because they're brainwashed, and I feel very sorry for them.
If not for the decisive intervention of her husband and Rick Ross, June may not have been saved from devoting her life to Master Lee. Sadly, Ross fears that many others may not be so lucky if they underestimate the seductive powers of any cult.
Most of us would like to believe that we would never be vulnerable to a cult group, that would only happen to stupid people or people that are unbalanced. Frankly, it could happen to anyone.
Tonight, we've taken you inside some of the most dangerous and mysterious secret societies in America. From the prestigious and private Skull and Bones to the KKK and lesser-known National Alliance. But questions remain. Is Earth First a violent organization that puts human safety second? And is Dan Hak Tao hiding a dark secret behind a new age mask of health and spiritual fulfillment? One thing is certain. It is part of human nature to want to join with others who share similar goals and ideas. And as long as there are groups with hidden agendas, there will always be best-kept secrets to reveal.